We'll call to order the City of Douglasville's City Council Legislative Work Session for today, which is February the 2nd, Thursday. And we'll have our invocation that will be led by Pastor Madeline Hubbard of New Hope United Methodist Church. After that, we'll have our much-awaited Pledge of Allegiance that will be led by the Mayor Pro Tem, Mr. Larry Yockey. Please stand for the invocation.
Good evening, Mayor Robinson, city officials, citizens of Douglasville. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you at this given time, giving you thanks for another day. Lord, I pray now that you will be with each person who is representing the city of Douglasville as decisions are made, Father God. I pray, oh Heavenly Father, that we will be on one accord, Father, and that everything will be in order by what you have given us to say. I thank you, Lord God, for this opportunity to lift up a word of prayer. And Lord God, as we prepare to leave this place, I ask that you will be with everyone here. Let us make it home to our destinations. In Jesus Christ's name I do pray. Amen. Praise God.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem, for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance and for Pastor Hubbard offering the invocation. We have announcements tonight, and before we go to the presentation that we have, I'll just do a few announcements for procedural issues. I'd ask that you would please silence your cell phones and electronic devices so they will not be disruptive during the meetings. If you would like to have something to say during the time that we open the floor for public comment, we'd ask that you come to the podium and give your name and address for the record. If you are here to speak on a zoning matter or an issue at the time, the chairperson will offer that you come to the podium. Please give your name and address again for the record. And there should have been a green form that you will have filled out, and you hand that form to my right to the city clerk, Ms. Vicki Acker, and at that time, after you've given her the form, please come to the podium, give your name and address, and then state why you're here. Okay. We ask that you not make any personal attacks or in any way be disruptive to the meeting while you're giving comments. Okay, for presentations, it is, I will proclaim that February 2nd, 2017, as Mayor's Monarch Pledge Day, to shine a spotlight on the pledge and to raise awareness about monarch butterfly conservation in the city of Douglasville. Is that right? Okay, is there someone here? Monarch butterflies. I know they fly and they go to like California or someplace, and we had a whole book that we read about monarch butterflies, so.
Mexico.
Hi, I'm Chan Weeks, Executive Director of Keep Douglasville Beautiful.
And I'm Kathy Henry, a member of Amacanasta Garden Club and Master Gardeners that do work at the Cultural Arts Center Butterfly Garden.
Hi, Ms. Henry.
And we're just honored to be part of this day today, that you will be proclaiming this as the Mayor's Monarch Pledge Day, and just to raise awareness for the monarch butterfly and to help educate the citizens about creating habitats at home as well as around the community in our public areas.
Right, and as it is endangered, we really appreciate we're one of 6 cities in Georgia that have started this initiative with hopes of many more.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I will read the proclamation, and after I've read the proclamation, we'll ask the council members to come around and we'll take a picture and hand you the proclamation for monarch butterflies. Whereas monarch butterflies have been migrating for thousands of years from as far north as Canada to as far south as Mexico, these distinctive butterflies fly through Georgia in perhaps the most spectacular migration in the insect world. And whereas due to loss of habitat and use of pesticides, the population of monarch butterflies has fallen by 90% in recent years. This drastic reduction is a reminder of the need to protect the balance in nature, and the Natural Wildlife Federation has launched an effort to protect monarch butterflies by restoring habitat in the urban areas. And the National Wildlife Foundation has enlisted American mayors to commit to this effort by signing the Mayor's Monarch Pledge to take specific action, and Douglasville is taking action in a number of ways to restore milkweed plants required by monarch larvae and native nectar-bearing plants to nourish adult monarchs. And there is a great community interest in educating children and adults about restoring habitat for these lovely butterfly visitors. Now, therefore, I, Rochelle Robinson, Mayor of the City of Douglasville, do hereby proclaim February 2nd, 2017 as Mayor's Monarch Pledge Day in the City of Douglasville, Georgia, and urge all citizens to plant milkweed and native nectar-bearing plants to sustain the monarch butterfly. So proclaim this second day of February 2017. Thank you. Please come around, council members, so we can take a picture.
All right, thank you.
I know council member talking about Groundhog Day. Okay, so we'll move on to Public Safety Committee, and that is chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
Yes, ma'am, I have a couple of items. Items A, adopt a resolution approving the use of certain City of Douglasville streets for 23rd Annual Arbor Station Elementary School Bear Run on Sunday, March the 26th, 2017. City Manager.
Mr. Chairman, this is an event that we typically do every year. We participate with our police department, so it's become almost a standard part of what we do for them.
Okay, Larry, you always be there, Larry? Okay.
And a few
Ma'am,
times.
okay. Madam Mayor, I'd like to put this on the consent agenda. It's okay with the council.
Thank you.
Okay, well, let's move on to item B. Request for a change in agent outlet manager for the alcoholic beverage license for the on-premises sale, consumption of wine and malt beverage and spirit liquor at the following establishment: Licensing, Logan's Roadhouse INC DBA, Logan's Roadhouse, location 9380, the Landon Drive 3. Proposed agent outlet manager Robert Willingham, current agent outlet manager Nicole McGill. The required fees have been paid into the city finance. Good evening.
Hey, how are you?
Name and
Hey, sorry. Robert Willingham, and the address is, I have it down there. It's 9380 Landon Drive 3 in Douglasville.
Good evening, Dana Eisenstein, Sard and Leff Attorneys, 3789 Roswell Road, Atlanta, Georgia, 30342.
but this is a renewal? This is a renewal?
A change of outlet manager?
Change outlet manager, okay. Any question from the council?
How long have you been a manager?
40 years.
40 years? Okay. So you must know the rules in regards to
Yes, sir.
alcohol.
I've had 5 liquor licenses in my name
Okay.
before.
Great. Thank you.
Mhm.
So we need to do a public hearing? Yep. So,
If anyone wants to come to speak in favor.
okay. So if anyone want to come up and speak in favor, just come on up.
Was
So
it-
it look like we don't have anyone. Anyone to come up and speak against? Okay, so come back on Monday and we'll give you a good answer. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, item C, request for a change in agent outlet manager for alcoholic beverage license for the package sale of wine and malt beverage and the following establishment: licensing Racetrack Petroleum, INC, DBA, Racetrack number 417, location 9294, Highway 5. Current agent outlet manager, Rob Herfman. Proposed agent outlet manager, Jeff Thurber. And required fees have been paid into the city finance department. Name and information.
Jeff Thuriel, location is 9294 Highway 5.
Okay, we want to hold a small, if anyone that's for the racetrack, come up, and you have 5 minutes. And if anyone against the racetrack agent outlet, okay. If you will, come back on Monday and we'll give you first, any question from the council? Mayor and
I want to
council?
make a comment, if I could.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Davis, I just wanted to commend the representative. I know you are the gentleman that would be the proposed agent outlet manager, correct?
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to commend you on the job that Racetrack has done on the restyling of that location. Looks
Yes.
very, very nice. Pass that on for us, would you please?
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It really looks great.
Looks good.
I pass
Thank
it
you.
quite often. How long have you been in the business yourself?
I've been with the company for 10 years. I'm manager for 6.
Okay, so you've managed other facilities before,
Yes, sir.
and you know our laws about being 21 and all that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's all I have.
Is that all? Okay, come back on Monday, sir, and we give you an answer.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on to Community and Economic Development Committee, and that's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have several items under Community and Economic Development tonight. First item is to appoint Whitney Constine to the Chamber post on the City of Douglasville's Convention and Visitors Bureau, CVB Advisory Board, for a 2-year term extending through December 31st, 2018.
Mr.
Madam.
Chairman, you will interview Ms. Constine, Mr. Landrum, and Ms. Meehan on Monday for these individual posts, but they are placed here in your legislative work session for any discussion that you may have. But you will interview them on Monday at 5 p.m. in committee meetings.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hampton. Having said that, then we've not had any discussion on these items, A, B, and C. I'll read each of them, and then if there are any questions that council may have about them prior to our discussion and interview with them on Monday, please bring that forward. Anything on item A? Item B, appoint Travis Landrum to an at-large post on the City of Douglasville's Convention and Visitors Bureau, CVB Advisory Board, to fill a vacant post with a term ending on December 31st, 2017. Any question or comment on that item? Item C, appoint Amy Meehan to an at-large post on the City of Douglasville's Convention and Visitors Bureau, CVB, Advisory Board for a 2-year term extending through December 31st, 2018. Any questions of council or comment on that item? Since we have not interviewed them yet, I will not request that this be placed on the consent agenda. And if there are no other questions or concerning A, B, or C, I'll move on. Item D. Select Design Collective Incorporated as the City of Douglasville's consulting firm to provide the City of Downtown Douglasville master plan document. I'm going to go ahead and read E and F also, and then we'll allow Ms. Hampton to make a comment, because we do have choices and other discussion coming. Select Tunnel Spangler and Associates Incorporated, TSW, as the City of Douglasville's consulting firm to provide the City of Downtown master plan document. And item F, select T.Y. Lynn International Incorporated as the City of Douglasville's consulting firm to provide the City a downtown master plan document. Ms. Hampton, would you explain our planning on that, please?
Yes, sir. On Monday night, you will have an opportunity to discuss the three firms that you have just read out each individual item that they're representing to make the decision which firm that you're interested in performing a downtown master plan study for you. You will have some time in that 5 p.m. committee meeting under your committee.
Thank you very much. Any question or comment of council at this time before we have that discussion on Monday?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Are you going to make a recommendation and the other two will be eliminated, or will we just not read those two other items?
It would be at the pleasure of the chairman. My assumption would be that after discussion with you all, that he would make a decision as far as a motion and then not take any action on the other two.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank
that
you.
would be correct. Thank you very much, Ms. Hampton. Any other questions? Okay, moving on to item G, authorize the mayor to sign a lease of city-owned property located at 8493 Bowdon Street, the former Police Administration Building, to the City of Douglasville's Downtown Development Authority for the purpose of a sublease to KIMYB LLC. Anyone here that has any questions or comments concerning that? We did discuss this tonight in our 5 o'clock meeting, and that is our plan to go forward with that on Monday for a vote. Is there any reason why, since this is it's not a renewal, but it is an item that we do periodically, since we do pass that through to the City of Douglasville's Downtown Development Authority, is there any reason why we could not place that on the consent agenda? Item G. Could that be done, please? Thank you. Madam Mayor, that's all that I have under that committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chairman Adams. We'll move on to Planning and Development Committee. That's also chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have several items tonight, 3 items under the Planning and Development Committee. The first is item 221705, which was tabled from January 17th, 2017, where we held a public hearing and considered a request for a special land use permit for sales and service, new and used cars for .38 acres Zone CG General Commercial at 8104 Dallas Highway, located in land lot 17, District 1, Section 5C, Parcel 1. Application made by Bytown. I would first make a motion that we remove item 221705 from the table.
Motions
Have
are
to-
actually
we
done
don't
on
have to-
Monday.
yeah.
We can discuss it
I'm
without
sorry, you're
removing
correct.
it.
And I did that last 2 weeks ago on Thursday. I'm sorry,
Okay,
I'm
yes.
ahead of myself.
That's okay. You're trying to get it done.
Because this is a legislative planning session and our plan is to then potentially vote on that on Monday, we've already held both public hearings that we were required to do. And unless there is some specific new information on an item or information that the council would have questions upon for some individual, then we will move on. Okay? I'll move on to item 221706, tabled from January 17th, 2017. Hold a public hearing and consider a request for rezoning from R2 Single Family Detached Residential to CG General Commercial with a special land use permit for sales and service, new and used cars for .75 plus or minus acres at parcel number 0017015C018 in land lot 17, District 1, Section 5C, Parcel 18. Application made by Bytown. Same would be our plan for Monday on that. Are there any questions concerning our intention on Monday to take that item up?
Mr. Chair, I would just ask if, I know city staff, we requested that they would work with Mr. Byton, and I was wondering if that had taken place to kind of mitigate some of his concerns and some of our questions that we had.
We'll have Ms. Wright come up and address that. Thank you.
So much, Mr. Chairman.
Michelle Wright, Planning Director, City of Douglasville. We did work with Mr. Bytan on some of the issues, and we do have a report for you if you'd like to hear it. It's actually from building and about the septic tank and things like that. Okay, the service entrance conductors must have a minimum clearance of 18 feet above finished grade. When parking areas are subject to truck traffic, truck will be delivering vehicles to this location. The special land use permit is approved. If the special land use permit is approved for autos, the option is to install service entrance conductors in conduit and bury not less than 24 inches in ground. This is a building code. The low voltage data conductors must have a minimum clearance of 16 feet above finished grade when passing over parking areas. The low voltage data conductors could be placed below grade. They are not permitted to be the same conduit with electrical conductors. This is part of the building code that he's in violation. The property owner is required to locate septic holding tanks and on the property and have waste and sediment removed. Additionally, the property owner will be required to camera out flow piping to ensure pipes and seepage trenches are free of any obstruction. If the tanks are drain field require repair to function properly, the property owner will be required to remove the holding tank, backfill pits, and connect to the public sewer system. The City of Douglasville Water and Sewer Authority requires sewer laterals to discharge into manholes. There is a manhole located to the east side of the highway. Holding tank is located within the parking area. No vehicle will be permitted to park over it. If paved parking surface has been installed over the primary drain field of the septic system, the property owner will be required to remove the paving. So that is the septic tank portion. He's required to provide a minimum of 1 van accessible handicap parking space that is a minimum of 8 feet by 20 feet and adjacent loading area that is a minimum of 8 feet by 20 feet. Both spaces are to be paved and the surface is to be in good repair that is adjacent to the sidewalk ramp leading to the building. The property owner denied access to the building official when requested for the purpose of an inspection. The parcel next door, which is the vacant parcel C-108 on Highway 92. The zoning is general commercial adjacent to R2 requires a 50-foot natural buffer. Because there are no trees present to serve as a natural buffer, the property owner must install a structural buffer of no less than 25 feet in depth and be planted throughout with trees and shrubs that includes evergreen trees not less than 2 inches in caliper at a rate of 1 tree unit for every 30 lineal feet to buffer length. An opaque fence wall 6 feet in height must be installed up closer than 2 feet to the property line. Earthen berms shall have a maximum slope of 2 to 1. So any of the property that is abutting residential would require a buffer, 25-foot buffer, trees, and a 6-foot fence. The Georgia Power Company has a 50-foot easement under their transmission lines passing west and east through the center of this property. No improvements may occur within the easement without written permission from the Georgia Power Company. Unless this is a contoured lot, it will be required to meet both zoning, unless this is a lot that doesn't have a structure on it, it will be required to meet both zoning and development standards and have a structure that meets building code standards and connect utility infrastructure. Property is required to install a public sidewalk. So if this lot is not combined with the lot next door and they want to use it for general commercial use, it will be required to have a building on it and restrooms and to hook up to sewer and put a sidewalk in. If the impervious surface structure, paved surface, exceeds 5,000 square feet of stormwater detention, a structure will be required for stormwater detention. So this information basically came from the Water and Sewer Authority, the Building Department, and the Health Services State Department that oversees septic tanks. Is there any questions on that?
Thank you, Ms. Wright. I'm sure there'll be some. I have some questions, but I'd like to open the floor to anyone else prior, please. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Wright. Just 2 questions. One, is it understood that the owner did not allow access into the building? Is that correct?
Yes, it is that he didn't. However, once a business opens up, it is subject to building inspection.
Also, as far as the staff, from the last time that we had conversation on this in our previous council meetings, you all have sat down with the owner and explained everything in detail, I'm assuming.
Well, we did speak with him. I did speak with him several times over the phone with the owner about this property, and basically about the property next door, about the buffers, and then the power line, which leaves his property with not a whole lot of space on it, because you can't do anything under the power line, and then you have 25-foot buffers.
And does he understand everything that you're explained?
Maybe Mr. Tian would like to address that.
All right, thank you. Yes, I would like to have it addressed. No other questions?
Anyone else? We'll ask Mr. Tien to come up in a moment for questions if
Chairman.
anyone has any. Go ahead, Mr. Davis.
Ms. Wright, has anyone walked the property with the young man?
No, he said he lived in, I believe it's Norcross, and he didn't want to make the trip out here because we were going to have the people that were involved in this on site, but he did not wish to do that. However, staff has walked the property, the building department, code enforcement, the water and sewer authority, and the health department. We have all been over to the
I
property.
wish he had been on the property so they can explain to him, and he understand that the parking lot has to be paved. Okay, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, did the water and sewer authorities say why that this was still on septic and it's in the city?
It's just something that it's grandfathered in, and it has never been required to go to sewer that we know of at any time. And supposedly the septic has not failed, but it possibly is failing now.
Mr. Yockey, I believe that would be the key, was if the system had failed, then they would not have a choice, but until such time, they would be able to operate, so long as the system were operating properly, which we're not sure of that now.
Do we know of any others, as residents in the city that are on, a septic tank?
I don't know of any others, but there may be a few out there still.
Commercial or residential?
Residential. You're on
This
septic.
was
I am.
commercial.
Wow, interesting.
Other questions? Other
Yes, sir, Mr.
comments?
Yes, sir,
Ms.
Mr.
Yes,
Chairman.
Madam Mayor.
I was just going to ask, I want to have a clear understanding. That was a lot of information, I'm trying to absorb everything. The natural buffer, there isn't one there. He would have to place a buffer on that adjacent
Yes,
site.
if you're a general commercial and you abut against residential R2 property,
Mm-hmm.
he would have to put a 6-foot opaque fence up and then have a 25-foot buffer, and he would have to plant trees. And that is it's for the north side of the property, the east side of the property, and about half of the south side of the property where he butts residential.
Okay, and the other question, Mr. Chairman, was for the zoning board, their recommendations to us. It didn't seem that everyone voted, and there were some that didn't sign their names to that, for us to have that data. So I was just wondering, was it not a full zoning board? Was that the time that the chair was out for a funeral?
The chair was not present. He had a death in the family, and we did have the vice chair.
And he couldn't vote, so that's why there aren't
That's
as many
correct.
folks. And some didn't sign their ballot, so the information sheet. So I just wanted to bring note to that. And also, was all of this information was not provided to the zoning board at the time because it's new to us, correct?
That is correct. The neighbor came forth at the meeting and brought these issues up, and then that's when we came to the meeting with you, we decided to investigate it.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Any other questions? I had a couple. Ms. Wright, has all of this information then been supplied to the applicant that you have gleaned from the
I
WSA?
spoke with him over the phone about the information. I don't know, he did not locate the septic tank for us, and so the septic tank information is depending on when they open the septic tank up and the condition of it and the condition of the lines by doing the testing. So we really don't know, but we did discuss with him that if the septic tank was failing, that he would have to go to sewer.
Okay.
And we discussed the buffer with him. I'm not sure about the parking space that's required for loading.
Okay, so that everyone understands that, I think the first item that you spoke of was the electrical and low voltage lines coming into the building. That's what you're speaking of when you mentioned that. Had to be in conduit or had to be so many feet above ground, correct?
Correct.
The other thing you'd mentioned, I want to make sure that everyone is aware, if this being a budding residential property on 3 sides, that means that 25 feet from each direction would be non-usable. There would be a fence within 2 feet of the property line and then a 25-foot buffer inside that fence planted. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so you take away, in width of the property, you take away 50 feet of the width of the property if you're on the north and south sides with it. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. I just want to make sure that Mr. Tyne has all of this information provided to him before Monday's meeting so that we can then, he would then be informed that we are not in control as a city body, as a city council, in a vote to approve or to deny. Even if we did, if we approved, then he would still have to meet these criteria. That's not something that by our approving it would give him a rubber stamp to go and open the business.
He also has a power line running through the property with a 50-foot
Georgia Power.
easement.
Okay. All right. Any other question or comment concerning this item?
He's not going to have a whole lot of land left, is he?
If not, we'll move on to the next item. We'll take this up on Monday night.
I'm sorry,
I'm
Mr. Chair,
sorry.
I wanted to, is it possible that the
Oh,
owner
yes,
can
I'm
come
sorry.
up? I
I
want
failed
to
to do
make
that.
sure that he
Is Mr. Tyne
understands.
in the audience with us tonight?
He
Yes,
is.
it's right there.
Would you come up, please, sir? Mr. Tyne, have you filled out a green sheet to speak tonight?
Yeah, just wrote that.
Okay. Give us your name and address for the record.
Yeah, my name is Bai Tian, address 7085 Red Cliff Court, Suwanee, Georgia 30024.
Thank you. We have some council members that have questions, so we would like for them to be able to ask you those questions. We're not in a public hearing to have other comment, okay? Other than questions. Go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for coming back out with us tonight. Just have a question. You have spoken with our staff, Ms. Wright. I just wanted to make sure, do you understand everything that she has explained to you in regards to what? No?
Because too much information. And to me, like, look like too obsessed with this safety tag. Because, there are two facts. The first fact is this safety tag has been with this building for 40 years, 50 years. It's really a great father thing. And, I asked the former owner, he said there was no problem with this safety
Mr. Tyne,
tag.
I'm going to stop you,
Okay,
sir.
okay,
We
go ahead.
we have that information.
Okay.
You've provided that information to us.
Mhm.
You've been asked a question, and if you would just respond to the question
Okay,
and
sure.
keep it along that line, please.
Okay.
Right. So your answer to me, I asked the question, do you understand everything that Ms. Wright has explained to you in regards to the property? And your answer was no. My question, Chairman Adams, is what is it that we need to do to make sure he understands what is being said?
Stanley, I don't know that it would be our responsibility to make sure that he understands. I think it would be our responsibility to inform him of what those requirements are, even though those requirements, only a part of those requirements are even controlled or connected to our city. The WSA, the Georgia Power requirements, all of those issues are something he would have to take up with those individual entities, and we have no control over what those are. So in answer to the question, I think that by us doing the review and giving him the information, he knows as much about it as we do now, and it would then be incumbent upon him to make a decision as to whether or not it was viable for him to go forward with those other requirements that he is facing, basically. Does that make sense?
Michelle, does he have this information?
She says she's provided it to him. She's called him and.
I spoke with him by phone on this information, but I don't believe he has it in writing. But I can provide it to him.
Okay.
Okay?
That's
Other
what he-
questions?
General.
Okay. Thank you very much. We'll take this item up on Monday night.
Okay.
We will move on. Item C, Request plat approval for combining lots 12, 13, 14, and 15 into a single tract located at 8570 Hospital Drive in land lot 50, District 1, Section 5, application by Jack Chin. Is there anyone here, do we have any information from anyone that they can provide for us as far as anyone to answer questions, or is there any question of council concerning this? If there are no questions, we'll take this item up on Monday night. Madam Mayor, that's all that we have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on to Parks and Recreation Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have several items tonight. Item A is to adopt a resolution which recognizes and honors the Douglasville Tiger Cubs 8-year-old and under D1 football team for its very successful 2016 season. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman, we have representatives, as you can see in the audience, from the Tiger Cubs. We have the individual resolutions representing each age group. They're here to take photos with you, even though you will officially adopt this resolution on Monday night. So they are here. So I would ask Mr. Charles Jones if he wouldn't mind coming up. He can give you more detail on their season and who is represented here from the Tiger Cubs.
Yeah, and
Mr.
Mr. Chair,
Jones?
as he's coming by, I suggest that we take pictures with each group, each 4 groups. You want to do that because it may be too much to try to get everyone at one time.
One time, so can we do
Okay.
individually?
Okay.
Thanks. My name is Charles Jones. Address is 7764 Melanie Drive, Douglasville, Georgia, 30134. Thank you guys for inviting the Douglasville Tiger Cubs out. The 8U D1 Douglasville Tiger Cubs, they had a great season. They won the 2016 Super Bowl. 12, 10 and 1, 12, 11 and 1, 11 and 1. They lost to Ackworth. I think it was 7-0, 7-6, and then we turned around and beat them in the Super Bowl. 14-6, and that team has went to the Super Bowl every year at 4 years old to now. Coach Didi Alexander was nominated as one of the coaches of the year. On the 8UD1 team, we had a player that was recognized Player of the Year. And we also had a player on that 8U team that won one of the most prestigious awards that you can win in NWGYFL. The quarterback, Delancey Alexander, DJ, he won that, #1. That team has, once you see them, you wouldn't believe that they was 8 years old. And I'm quite sure some of you guys remember them when they was 4, when the first time they came here. And so right now, I would like to present you guys the 8U Super Bowl champs, Douglasville Tiger Cubs.
Okay, so Mayor and Council, I guess we go out for pictures.
Come on, take a picture with them.
You guys come on. Coach Didi Alexander has the banner. 2016 Douglasville Tiger Cubs Super Bowl champs.
All right, that looks pretty, but it's way too big. You're gonna have to squeeze in. You can, sure. You got about 2 chairs from the mayor and 2 chairs from the mayor, either direction, as wide as you can go. So you're gonna have to really pull in tight. Yeah, that's not tight enough. Tight, like you like each other. Like you're on the same team. There you go. Hey, I think we're going to make it. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. All right. Out to the side. You don't have to.
Are we gonna read any more? Do I read each one at a time?
Yeah.
Okay. Mayor, so I just move it right along? Okay. All right, item B, adopt a resolution which recognizes and honors the Douglasville Tiger Cubs 9-year-old and under D1 football team for its very successful 2016 season.
Okay, with this team, for the last 2 years, they've been undefeated. They won the Super Bowl back-to-back. This team is well coached. This team is, you can't say enough. I mean, they work hard. Their coaches, actually, I've been asked, do the coaches coach at the high school level? By some of our high school coaches, basically the way they prepare at practice. I'd like to call up the 9U D1 Douglasville Tiger Cubs. And this coach, actually, he won Coach of the Year this year. Coach Ken. Coach, they actually had a player that won Player of the Year, Mike. He's not here. You guys slide down some. Squeeze in.
Can I get there?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. All right, here we go. Mr. Adams, if you can just slide it just a bit more. Same thing with Mr. Davis. There we go. There we go. 3, 2, 1. One more time. And 3, 2, and 1. All right.
Item C tonight, adopt a resolution which recognizes and honors the Douglasville Tiger Cubs 12-year-old and under D1 football team for its very successful 2016 season.
Also, this team has won Super Bowl 2 years in a row, undefeated. 2016 season only gave up 6 points. Coach Angelo, come up. We also had a Player of the Year. Coach Angelo also was nominated as Coach of the Year. This team is just, I mean, this team was awesome. I say awesome. I mean, they beat some people's, one team they beat 70-something to nothing, and they cut the clock off. And the score probably was 100 and something because they called probably about 10 touchdowns back, just because. Douglasville Tiger Cubs, 12U. Do anybody have their Super Bowl rings with them? That's 8U, Frank. Frank, that's the 8U. Oh.
If everybody can just a little bit tighter in. There you go. We're looking this way. Here we go on 3, 2, and 1. 3, 2, and 1. Okay.
Now, there's one more. I take that back. Item D, tonight adopt a resolution which recognizes and honors the Douglasville Tiger Cubs 12-year-old and under D2 football team for its very successful 2016 season.
Okay, this team was up on the first-year coach, or head coach of 12U, Coach Frank Payne. He actually won 12U D2 Coach of the Year. He did a marvelous job with a bunch of 11-year-olds, some 12-year-olds. So I look forward for those 11s to come back for 12. It was just a great year at the Douglasville Tiger Cubs in 2016. Coach Frank Payne. D2, come on down.
Like your hat.
Thank you.
I like the old school logo. Get the whole group, take a step to your right, toward Mayor Pro Tem down here. There you go. Okay, stop. All right. All right, that looks good. Here we go. Looking this way. Here we go, buddy. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, and 1. We'll do one more. In 3, 2, and 1. All right, good job.
I got in with the 8 names. And they say I was favorite the other team. So okay.
I figured I would.
Sure. Appreciate it.
What's the total number in the club?
Say that again.
What's the total number of children in the club?
The total number of kids in the club?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, the total, including cheerleading and football, was 315 kids.
That's a lot.
Oh.
Okay. Also, the Douglasville Tiger Cubs won Association of the Year this year. We won, like I said, numerous Players of the Year we had, and also myself won the Chairman Award.
Oh.
It was just a great year to be a Douglasville Tiger Cub. And I thank you guys for giving us a chance and opportunity to participate at Jesse Davis Park. Thank you.
Proud of you. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to ask for A through D to be placed on the consent agenda for Monday, or our next meeting, yes, Monday.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Monday.
Got it.
All right, moving right along.
We'll just wait.
Get a couple of minutes.
Just wait. Just wait. Yeah. No, he's just holding. He's just holding.
Okay, moving to item E. Authorize city staff to advertise for bids for the construction of the Pro Shop remodel project at West Pines Golf Course, which we discussed in committees tonight. Ms. Cartwright's going to come forward and fill us in on anything.
Just to reiterate what was discussed at the 5 o'clock meeting, Chris Cartwright, 9090 Rose Avenue, Douglasville, Georgia. Just to reiterate what was discussed at the 5 o'clock meeting, the purpose of this project will be to streamline and improve the floor plan, the layout of the Pro Shop area, as well as do some needed repairs such as painting and new carpet, which is original to the building. The customer interaction will be improved by the employee being able to see both the entrance and exit door of the building. And it will also allow more room for display and selling of food and beverage and merchandise in the floor plan.
Any questions?
I don't have a question, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to recognize Mr. Cartwright again for the viewing audience. He is going to receive an award on March 4th from the state of Georgia and the PGA Association for his professionalism being a golf pro. So we really congratulate you and thank you so much for setting the bar so high. It's a great achievement, and we just want to congratulate you and thank you.
Mayor, I'd just like to add that the golf course has been very successful under Mr. Cartwright for the city, and we do appreciate all his efforts to make it the best.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on that? Is this an item I can have placed on the consent agenda? Okay. Item F, authorize the mayor to sign an online registration and servicing agreement with Civic Plus for the computerized registration services for users of sports and recreation programs in the city's Parks and Recreation Department. And our Parks and Rec Director will come forward and give us some information on that.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Travis Landrum, 8830 Gurley Road, Douglasville, Georgia, 30134. This is a recommendation to have the Rec One software implemented in the Parks and Recreation Department for, as he mentioned, software usage of registration of programs, rental in our facilities to have consistency at both of our facilities, and of course to also allow reservations in our parks. This will allow us to have better internal controls. It'll be more customer friendly for the customers that utilize it from the citizen perspective. And we hope this is something that can go through and just make us offer our services in a more efficient and effective manner.
Would this be viewed, can the citizens view the calendar, or like if they wanted to rent one of the facilities, could they see something on a calendar that shows them that that room is occupied or whatever?
Yes, this software will allow them the opportunity to be able to view the spaces, see the availability throughout to see if it's available on a particular day and time. But we will have those controls on the inside to handle the registration for them if they have a space that they're interested in. But they can see if it's booked or not and then select another date if they want to choose to.
And that's all done through the city's website?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I had a question as well for Director Landrum. Mr. Landrum, if someone wants to rent the facility at Jesse Davis, for example, and that one is not available, could the parks professional look on this system to see if that same time frame would be available at, say, Hunter, or would they have to call, or does it interact with all the parks?
This will be stationed at both of our facilities, Jesse Davis and at Hunter Park. So as your example states, if the interested person contacts Jesse Davis and is not available, the staff will be able to view the facility at Hunter Park and then still share the same information with them, but just to have control, internal control, stay in line, they would be able to refer that person to Jesse Davis, and then they could already say that they've checked that information and they know it's available, and they can have it reserved for them that way.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions?
Just curious, Mr. Chairman, about the cost. Is the cost of their, it looks as though from the agreement, the cost of their transaction fee, processing fees, the person renting the space would pay that as a part of the.
Yes, sir. There will be those fees that you mentioned and a convenience fee for utilizing the service. And the agreement with the company will be a 1% of the total transactions for the month, which will be the payment to them for the software that we will utilize. So that is also a contingency in the contract, where it's not a year-to-year contract. It's something that if we're not happy with the service that they offer, we have a 30-day clause to where we could notify them and then remove ourselves from that service agreement.
So a $100 rental for a birthday party costs the city $1.
Pretty much. Well, no,
I'm
sorry. Let me take that back. There is a clause in there where that would be the minimum amount per month, with the hopes and expectations that we would have obviously more than $100 in reservations. But there is a clause in there that says there is that minimum on the monthly.
$100 minimum fee that we pay to them if there's no rental. But
Yes,
in
sir.
addition to that, it's 1% of the gross rental.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Landrum, is this a system that you're familiar with, has been used where you've been before, or is this kind of new? Or
This is a system that is prevalent within the state of Georgia. It is. It actually was housed in the state of Georgia prior to the partnership with Civic Plus to take their home to Manhattan, Kansas. But it was a local group that started here, and it's throughout the state in the field of recreation. In my previous experience, it was one that we considered, but because we had a long-standing history with that current provider, we stayed with them. But it is picking up within the state of Georgia in the field of recreation.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Has legal staff reviewed this agreement? And it's cool. Thank you.
all right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Mr. Landrum.
Thank you.
Mayor, council, would this be also something we put on consent agenda? Or yes? Okay. We'll ask for that to happen. And that is all we have under Parks and Recreation tonight, Madam Mayor.